Good
Hey.
afternoon, sir.
Hello,
How are
Jason
you?
Thomas. I am doing excellent. How are you doing on a Friday?
I'm doing very well. It is a happy Friday.
What are we doing on a Friday here? I'm confused.
We are doing a special edition. I think
Let's go.
It's our first special edition, correct?
First special edition on the PWBA Podcast.
Very exciting. PBA League special edition with our first of our two PWBA teams that were drafted earlier this week.
Yes, definitely excited. Enjoyed watching the draft over there on Flow Bowling. And obviously two great teams made up of 10 PWBA superstars, two great coaches in Bob Learn Jr. and Kim Kearney, having to make a lot of tough decisions. So I'm going to be excited to kind of hear some of the thought process behind that from both teams. But today we're going to focus on the Miami Wave. JT, before we start here.
Is it the Wave or the Waves?
Waves, plural.
Waves.
So you can only have one team in Miami with a non-plural team name. So
Okay.
he'd already had that. So they're the Waves. So there's the logo. It looks cool. It's going to be a good time.
They're going to be the tidal wave that sweeps away the PBA League championship, aren't they?
Ooh, look at you go, JT.
Going with the metaphors already.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, the draft was really fun. I mean, it was nail biting to watch kind of especially the end of it. You know, I know Missy Parkin, we'll talk to her a little bit about, just kind of waiting and hoping that she gets on the team. And it was fun to watch that show. And I'm obviously way more excited to watch the competition once it happens in the fall. But why don't we bring on Mr. Learn?
All right, let's do it. The Miami Waves team manager, USBC Hall of Famer, Mr. 300, Bob Learn Jr.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Excellent, Bob.
How are you, sir? First off, just wanted to say congratulations on the Hall of Fame. And we will, at one point here pretty soon, get around to putting you in.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Am I actually in or not? Until you actually take the acceptance speech, I don't know if you're actually in. So kind of wondered that. But you announced me as a Hall of Famer, so I'll take it as.
I think you're in when the vote comes in, right?
Okay.
But
all right. We'll go with that.
The ceremony is the actual, symbolic induction into the Hall of Fame. But I think that's an important event. Now you have some extra time to work on your speech, right?
Yeah, a whole nother year. It's hard to wrap up your whole life in 5 minutes, So.
It is. Well, I think you have 15. But
okay. It's hard for me to stay within 15, to be honest.
Well, that'll be a great event. We're looking forward to that. I know we did shoot the video. I've seen it. It's really great. It brings tears to my eyes when I watch it. So hopefully it'll do the same for everybody else. But hopefully it won't mess you up when before you have to get up and give your speech. So we'll let you see it before, so you're not surprised.
Well,
That's
and then
great.
I'll also get to add at the end, being a team manager of the Miami Waves who won the PBA League.
That's right. We're going to probably have to re-edit the video, right?
Yeah.
I like it. I love it.
So tell us about this process. What's it been like for you, and what are some of the things that you did to kind of prep for it?
Well, I mean, I did keep tabs on the women's bowling. I mean, I did watch it, so I knew who was doing what. It wasn't like I was going in blind, but when I got the call, I was very excited. And honestly, a pretty unique opportunity to get 5 women from the PWBA tour and work with them. And, a number of those people on the list I had worked with under as an assistant of Team USA coaching, right? So I was familiar with a number of the players. So, I've been around the women and know what they can do. And it's pretty cool. I mean, being, that I coach college and I have some of the best college players. I mean, this obviously is a whole nother level to that, but to be able to have really, and as you know, it ended up being a top 10 off of the point list. So,
yeah,
I mean, they're all great.
Yeah. How did that work? I mean, how close was the roster that you ended up with to what you kind of were hoping for going in?
Well, that's a good question. It's a tough question actually, because you really looked at all scenarios. There's different things in that list. You have some of the hottest players on tour, obviously. Then you have some really strong players that have been around for a long time and obviously show that they deserve to be on one of these teams as well. So it was really tough. It was, because you know what? I like all of them. It's not a personal thing per se, right? You're trying to match up the team as well as you can as the draft is taking place. Now, of course, you get on social media and say, "Oh, I would have picked this person first." Of course you would, But when you're in a moment, you got 2 minutes. And I'll tell you what, 2 minutes sounds like a long time, but when you're really trying to look down and try to figure out what to do, and if you go down and you're afraid of missing the one that's up above too, I mean, it's tough. And I'm glad with every player I have. I think we're going to be really strong, and I think we have strengths that I think we present above maybe the other team that was drafted. And I have my reasons for that, and we can talk about that as well.
Let's get into that, Bob. What, as you mentioned, all these players incredibly talented, but, looking at this team now and obviously the selections you made, what do you see as the strengths of this group? And, on the flip side, are there any weaknesses that you think might present some trouble down the line?
All right. So the weaknesses, again, if you have the top 10 women in the world, I don't see where there's a weakness there, right? You can go with strengths like, oh, this person can hook it more, that one goes straight or whatever, but everybody's got to play on what they're playing on that day. And the people that have the best ball reaction are going to perform the best overall. And when you look at a lineup, you got to try to put three, you have to have three people on really to make this all work. And in college, I have 8 people on my roster, and I can pull someone in if they're not doing so well. So that really is kind of what was on my mind. I felt that the players that I picked were players that are fighters. They're really determined. And obviously, it's one of the reasons why they're at the top. They're just able to figure things out very well and stay in play and give themselves a chance. Also, I had to look at spare shooting. I want strong spare shooters, obviously not to give anything away to the guys that we'll be bowling against. Do we give up a little bit of carry? Possibly, but I think we got better spare shooters. So I think there's a wash there when it comes down to that. I did try to find a little bit of variety again, so I could have 3 that I felt would be strong during different scenarios that we may come across. And I know one of the big questions was, why didn't either team go down and grab a left-hander?
Yeah.
Okay, so my own thoughts on that were, I pretty much talked myself out of it. And Shannon Plahowski is a great player, and I mean, get along with her fine. It's, again, not a personal thing. She's amazing. Looking at what the guys do to the lanes, especially the left-handers, they barely ever have anything else but urethane in their hand. And what they do with that urethane and to a lane, it can be pretty ugly. They're able to manipulate the lane a little better with their high rev rate. They're shaping the ball differently than Shannon would. And they're able to get to parts of the lane in where she would, I saw having a little struggle with the ball, reading the right spot for her. And so I just felt, and obviously Kim had a similar feeling, right? She didn't go that direction either. And so it was nothing against her, because I think she's a fantastic player. I'd love to have her on my team. But in this scenario, I felt that I might lose a player, and you can't afford to really do that. And on the right, if we have something similar to that, at least I have 5 players that were able to talk and play with each other and kind of decide, what the best way to play the lane is. And then also have 5 that can actually work the lane and be able to create something for ourselves. So I just thought that it was a detriment more than an advantage for that very reason. Now, the other side of looking at how strong or our weaknesses, it's funny because I do bowl every now and then still on the regular tour. Now, I have a couple players on my team that have bowled against the men consistently. Mm-hmm. And so they already know what they're kind of going to be looking at, right? So let's just take, for instance, the top 2 players that were on the point list. If I look at 1 and 2, which we know were Shannon and Danielle, who's played with the men? Who's competed with the men? Danielle. So Shannon, obviously, I mean, amazing player. Obviously, she's been a dominant player, but I don't think I lose anything when I grab Danielle as my first pick over Shannon, because she's acclimated to what's going on, and she sees what they do to the lanes, and she makes the adjustments that she'll see the same type of adjustments that she had to make throughout the year because she bowls enough of their events. So everyone's like, how'd you feel about not getting Shannon? I'm like, I was fine. I mean, would you want Shannon and Danielle? Sure.
Yeah,
both, right?
Right.
But I didn't see it as like, you got number 2, you lost the coin toss. I'm like, no, I got a very strong player here, and I'm excited about that. The guys, when I bowl against the guys on the tour, they don't really play patterns the way patterns are even built, to be honest. They create a lot of angle through the front to create their hold. And what they'll do is they'll establish an angle to where they can create hold on the lane, and they'll get a ball that they can make it come back right of that. That's how they play. They play for a hold spot and then get on it and be able to create something right with that. Most of us will actually look for a little bit of friction, try to align to it, right?
Right. Most of us humans.
Yeah. And so the angles that they create when they break the lanes down are really not normal. And their idea of how they break down a lane and play a lane are not normal. And I think that really is different than what you see from the women and how they play more traditional, like, hey, here's a and they play transition as it should be. So going to someone that gets in and hooks the ball and tries to stay with the guys, I don't really like that as being a great way to go after it. I hook the ball. I still get plenty on the ball, and I don't like the way my ball looks when I got to get in and play with those guys, right?
Yeah.
I'm struggling to get the ball to see the lane properly. So
I was gonna ask that question, but you answered it really for me. Like, was there a an idea of picking a bunch of players on the point list that like to hook the ball more? But your answer makes sense. But it goes back to, are you thinking about the strategy of trying to stay away from where the men play when you guys go in, or are you just going to try to play the lanes however they?
I probably would at all costs. I mean, if it's possible, yes. Yes, because I think that we can be – guys don't like to play right and go up the lane. They just don't. They want to go in and they want to hook it. As we see, the dominant players are just that, right? Guys with real high rev rates. I mean, their rev rates are always 450 plus, right, that are on TV. You rarely see the exception to that. And when you had, say, like Norm Duke, who had won 2 tournaments last year, he was farther right and going straighter. And that was his advantage because
he was able to play the 2 patterns the same.
Yeah, didn't have anybody else doing it, right? Well, that's where I see our team. I see our team. If we have an opportunity like that, we can have a lot of success. And I know these girls can get in and play, but why play when you're up against that and the transition that happens with those guys? If we can create our own thing, and quite honestly, the patterns they play in this league are not as tough as what they do bowl on normally. So we know we're going to have, at least if things remain the same, a spot of friction that we can align to and be able to get everybody out there and play together. Now, as far as how they play together, I can only assume they all have mutual respect for one another, being that they compete with each other all the time. And of course, they can speak on that in a bit, but I like each and every one of them. I've been around each and every one of them enough to know that I like them. And I hope that they feel the same about each other, because I think we could do some really great things.
Well, let's talk to him. What do you say, Mr. Smith?
Sounds good, Mr. Thomas.
I think I'm going to excuse myself. I'll come back in a little bit. Okay.
All right. Jason Thomas is going to step out. Bob Learn Jr. is going to stick around for a little bit, but we have 4 of the 5 members of the Miami Wave. So Miami Waves, plural. So let's welcome in Missy Parkin, Danielle McEwan, Dasha Kovalova, and maybe Liz Kuhlkin. There's Liz. All right. Uh-oh. Liz, you might be frozen there. Oh, okay. You're moving.
Not in the best scenario here with the service, but we're going to try our best.
All right. We're hearing you loud and clear, so that's the important part. So welcome, everybody, to the PWBA Podcast. Thank you for joining us here today. One of your team members was unable to make it, Clara Guerrero, but we are very excited to talk with each and every one of you about this team coming together and obviously competing in the as the PWBA team, one of them at the PBA League in September. So first off, I'm going to throw a few direct questions at a few of the players here. So Danielle, we'll start with you as, essentially you were the top pick for the team. So you are the one player on this group who has had a previous PBA League experience. What is the, if possible, the one piece of advice you could give these other ladies on your team concerning just that atmosphere in Portland, Maine?
The atmosphere in Portland is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. It's so electrifying and so exciting to be part of it. And I just remember the first time I competed in the league, I was watching the match that was before mine. I was sitting off to the side behind the cameras, and I was petrified, literally petrified to get on the lanes because I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen the fans jumping around and screaming and chanting as you're on the approach delivering your shot. And I just didn't know if I was going to be able to handle that. Once I got out there, it all clicked and it was a lot of fun. But the one piece of advice that I would give to my fellow teammates is just to prepare yourself for that. We prepare ourselves for TV shows and for TV sets all the time where you visualize the cameraman's there, the fans are there, it's silent, I need to make my shot. So instead, now you're visualizing there's a guy in a squirrel suit over there and there's people with afros dancing around over there and they're chanting my name and now I need to go make a shot. It's just a different mindset.
Would you recommend they make friends with Squirrel Guy quickly or stay away from Squirrel Guy?
Definitely make friends.
All right. Perfect. Danielle, another aspect of this, when kind of looking at the brand of equipment everyone uses, Missy, Clara, Dasha, and Liz, all part of the Brunswick, Columbia family. You're the lone Storm Roto player on this team, but I know you've had experience kind of having to talk through ball motion, cores, covers, shapes, and all that as part of Team USA. So for you, what's going to be the biggest learning curve kind of to go in and be able to kind of have those conversations with your teammates and seeing, if everyone else is kind of seeing, a certain core, certain cover work, how are you guys going to make that transition as quick as possible?
I really don't see it as a learning curve or even a transition. Like, as you said, I've had experience with bowling with some of these ladies on Team USA, so we already have those communication skills built. And as far as Dasha and Clara go, I bowl against them every weekend, and they're 2 players that I feel are kind of similar to how I throw it. So if I'm lost, they're one of the first 2 players I'm going to stand behind and try to figure out what they're doing and what that means for me. So I'm already pretty familiar with everyone's game, and I think that's going to give us a huge advantage.
Excellent. Dasha. Hi, Dasha. You and Liz are kind of the most recent players to come out of the collegiate game. You were a standout at Wichita State. Liz at Nebraska. We can see it on the back of her seat right there as well. Go Huskers. But obviously this team all has collegiate experience. But what's going to be how much do you think this is going to compare to the collegiate atmosphere? Obviously, that was something everyone of you thrived in, but, kind of just being out of it for a few years. What do you think are going to be the biggest things you're going to take away from that experience that's going to help you in Portland, Maine?
Just the communication between the teammates. And, come on, look at those people I'm going to bowl with. They're super awesome, and it's like collegiate bowling, but on another level with, like, a dream team, and just having fun, enjoying being around those wonderful ladies and learning from them, and making cheers. And do they make cheers? Do they not make cheers anymore?
I was going to ask that.
I want to try. That
could be a new addition to the PBA League.
But just just being in that atmosphere and learning how those ladies bowl and maybe using it against them on tour, but for our teammates, I'm not going to do that. And just being excited and having fun.
I do like it. You're the first one to use Dream Team, so the Miami Waves will be credited with the Dream Team moving forward. So, Liz, kind of the same question for you. As we mentioned, at Nebraska, standout, a national champion there. Just what do you see the parallels between the PBA League and collegiate bowling for you?
Yeah, so actually the first couple years that the PBA League was in Maine, I got to spectate. And so I wasn't bowling, but I was in the crowd with Squirrel Guy and kind of hanging out. And I know what Danielle is talking about when she says electrifying, because it really is like no other. So I kind of have a feeling for how it's going to be already. And also I know if you step into a collegiate tournament for girls, I mean, it is high-fiving, slapping, yelling. I mean, I feel like a lot of us have been exposed to a lot of that already. Now, obviously, this is a little bit more intense, but I feel like because of that, a lot of us have bowled with some distractions before. And obviously, when you bowl on TV, it may not be cheers, but you have lights and you have it's hot and everything else. So I feel like a lot of us have that parallel, and I feel like that's a big benefit for us, that a lot of us have been in those types of situations, and a lot of us have bowled on TV a lot. So I think we're ready for whatever situation is thrown at us.
All right. And Liz, we're going to keep it with you for one more quick question. We had Missy on the podcast a week or two ago. We had Jordan Richard on as well. The three of you won the trios gold at the World Championships or in 2019. And, we kind of got to hear the story of kind of the final frames of that event, and Missy kind of, different side of Missy, getting everyone kind of fired up and ready to go for those final few frames. So I'd like to hear your side of that kind of moment where it kind of turned and clicked and you guys started taking the lead and eventually winning the gold medal.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been very fortunate in my career to bowl in a lot of high pressure situations and be able to make shots. And I've had accomplishments in my career, but hands down, that was the most intense, most nervous I've ever been to throw a bowling ball in my career. That first shot in the 10th frame, where I needed a strike basically to pressure Maria to throw a shot. It was incredible. There's no really other way to describe it. Missy really, I mean, because Jordan and I are kind of, not rookie. We're kind of rookies in a sense on Team USA. And obviously Missy has been around, and she basically saw what was happening and knew to bring us aside and say, all right, guys, listen, let's turn this around. We're not out of this. Let's make our shots. We know what we're capable of, and let's do this. And fortunately, we were able to do that. And it was an experience like no other. And it's definitely a moment I'll never forget in my bowling career. Excellent.
Excellent. Missy, that's been one of my favorite stories on the podcast, by the way. So that's why I keep bringing it up. It's just such a great story. Missy, obviously your performances against the men are well documented. The first to become a PBA member, the first to win 3 regionals, I believe also the highest finish at the US Open and the Masters for a female competitor. So how do you think this environment is going to be different in the, essentially in the team atmosphere, everyone on one pair of lanes? How do you think that's going to be different? And how much do you think your previous experiences are going to help you for it?
I think it's going to be different in the sense that it's not just being me by myself now. It's 5 of us, and we have the opportunity to actually break down the lane together and break it down in a way that, can be advantageous to all of us. And then already kind of knowing the transitions that happen with the guys and what the guys do to the lanes. Danielle and I both have a lot of experience, Clara as well. And we kind of already know what to anticipate there. And we can just, relay the information that much quicker. So I think it's going to be so much fun. And like everybody's already talked about with the environment, it's just going to be amazing. So I just can't wait.
All right. As we approach the halfway point, 30 minutes into the podcast, I'm going to actually switch myself out for a second. Jason Thomas, are you paying attention? You look ready to go, so I'm going to bring in JT. I'm going to step out for a second, so we'll be back momentarily.
Hello. This is fun. I'm having a good time listening to you guys. My first question is, and anybody can answer this, Bob, you as well. How do you guys plan to prepare for the competition as a team? I know there's a lot of restrictions in place with what's going on right now. Do you guys plan on getting on the phone and doing some Zoom calls? How do you guys plan to prep?
Well, I like that idea. I like getting on the same call and having a few discussions. I reached out to everybody through my email, so everybody knows how to get hold of me. Certainly want to talk about what we're going to be bringing. How many balls are we bringing? What are we bringing? So we know that we have it covered, right? Listen, it goes down back to when we get on the lanes there and seeing what's going on. That's when the decisions really happen. But being prepared as much as we can when we get there with the equipment that we have with us, just having a better understanding what we're working with, so we know what ball is next in our lineup. So yeah, we'll get that all straight. I wish we had a few more days prior, but we get one full day, I guess, to work on it on lanes. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think we're going to do some cool things.
You guys, some of you have bowled together, obviously on Team USA and whatnot. Do you have kind of like a shorthand that you use typically when you're competing together with, like move to left, do this ball change, they're 5 different than your last frame. Do you guys have something that you've worked on in the past that you think you might use for this competition?
I think we've just always been very open when we see the lanes transitioning. We make sure before the next player steps on the lane or gets anywhere near stepping on the lane that we definitely communicate that prior to. I don't know if there's necessarily a shorthand, but we're definitely very good with our communication, especially when we're seeing transition happening on the lane. We're all really good shot makers, and we know when we throw it good. And if we don't see our ball doing the right thing, we're going to let our teammates know. And generally, they already also see that, but we definitely make sure we communicate it as well.
Yeah, and Danielle had mentioned it, but do you guys typically follow each other at tournaments to kind of line up off of each other? Is that kind of something that you guys have found as you're going to be bowling together? Hey, these are players that I typically line up off of.
I'll say that I do that with Clara.
Yeah.
I definitely have done that with Clara a lot in the past. We roomed together the first couple of years on tour. So we definitely have always been able to line up off each other and watch what each other's doing.
What about you, Dasha?
Me and Liz, we talk about, hey, this is the ball word. That's what the lane is. Especially if we follow each other. Like, I try to tell her that how much differences I have, and she also is very helpful. And sometimes I spy on Danielle when she's striking a lot too, but it's my secret. Don't tell you.
Yeah,
I
Liz,
spy on you too.
You spy on each other. I like that.
Stop.
Liz, you're probably the player on the team that likes to hook it the most. Are you planning on trying to play a little straighter with the rest of the team, or are you going to be comfortable playing your natural game to get inside of everybody a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely when you look the team up and down, obviously I'm kind of the black sheep of the group a little bit with just playing a little bit further left than the rest of the girls. However, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. And I mean, also, I will say that over the years on tour, I've become a much more versatile player. If this was in 2015, I may say to you, I'm a little bit nervous about playing up 8 or 7, but as time has gone on, I've gotten a lot better at changing my hand position. I've gotten a lot better at playing the friction a little bit better. So obviously that's something that I'm looking forward to talking with Bob and talking with the rest of the girls to try to figure out the best way for us to be successful. Obviously, I'm never going to be in a position where I'm going to be like, this is where I want to play the lane, and that's how it's going to be. I'm looking forward to seeing what's out there, talking about layouts. I know in the past I've used a lot of 2-inch pin layouts to kind of make it a little bit easier for me to play further right with my ball roll. So I think it's going to be not a problem at all. I'm looking forward to working with my teammates and also Bob with finding the best way for us to be successful.
Yeah, that's nice. I and maybe even getting some shots at anchor if they set the lanes up nicely for someone who likes to go left or right?
Yeah, that is it. I mean, we have a variety here. We have people to based on what the lanes do. We have someone to fill that place if we need it. So I think we're in really good shape. I really do. I was very, very glad to get the lineup that I have. I do watch balls go down the lane all the time in college, right? Obviously, and I still bowl competitively. I still go out and compete. So I feel it. I know it. I can easily see it and help. I don't think we're going to get lost here. I think we're going to be on top of it. I think we're going to be a step ahead, and I think we're going to be successful.
Yeah, I want to get back to the atmosphere a little bit. My guess is that you guys are going to have the crowd on your side, whatever team it is that you're bowling against. You guys, A, think that's true, and B, do you have any additional tricks up your sleeve to try to get the crowd even more on your side?
Well, you can't reveal tricks. But of course we'll have some.
Yeah, but do you think that might play into the mentality of the competition a little bit?
Absolutely. You have that much energy and the people are behind you as a group, and I think they will gravitate toward the women. I think they want to see them, upset the teams that have been there, right? And absolutely, we got some things that I have in mind. My wife has already given me some good ideas on what we can do to get them on our side early. So I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah. What about you, ladies? Any maybe not tricks that you want to reveal, but I mean, you guys have bowled against men. Do you think there's a little bit of added pressure on them not to lose, just because of you're women, and then also the crowd wanting you to win?
Probably.
I don't know if it's so much added pressure, but I can definitely tell you they don't like losing to us. So maybe, I think they're very respectful of all of us. Anytime I've competed against the guys, they know that we're good players and they're respectful of that. But it's definitely an extra little bonus for us when we get to kind of show up and go at them and make them a little upset. So hopefully we can do that.
Yeah, I'll tell a really quick story, and then we can get back to this. But at last year's Hall of Fame induction ceremony, Kelly Kuhlkin and Mika Koivaniemi were two of the inductees, and there was a clip that we showed during Kelly's video where she threw a strike to lock Mika out and move on to the title match, and the look on Mika's face was priceless, and the whole room just lost it. I mean, they thought it was the funniest thing ever, just the look on Mika's face, because he doesn't like to lose in any case. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. But anyway, just to get back to that, any other thoughts on that before? Are there any teams in particular you think might be affected more by it than others?
Well, I do see a team or two that might be affected more by COVID. There's going to be some question marks.
Just about whether they're able to get here, and yeah.
So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we hope everybody can make it, and the competition's able to go off without a hitch. But are there, from a style standpoint, are there any teams that you guys think you match up well against?
Well, I guess when we get to the end and both women's teams are left, I suppose that would be the closest matchup.
But would you rather play a team that has a bunch of players that like to hook it, or would you rather play a team that is going to throw urethane and play to the right?
I'll let the ladies talk about that one. Who would you rather have?
Not urethane.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't feel too good about urethane.
There's some weird voodoo magic when people throw urethane.
It's quite possible that they may do that in warm-ups too, get their urethane out and try to mess with the right, but they're going to mess themselves up too. So
sure,
I think we win that battle. So
sure,
exactly. They could actually just create some hold for us too, and then hang for them. So sure.
Yeah, it's a good point.
We can use 360 on our bowling balls and just kind of cross everything out.
Well, Danielle, you bowled in that center. How's the surface in that center?
Definitely higher friction surface, but I was always able to kind of play what I like to do, just straighter angles and just use the right ball that gives me the ability to do that. You know, anytime I've ever bowled against the guys, the main thing that I found success with is just staying true to myself. You know, kind of as you were talking earlier, the guys break the lanes down so differently. So it's kind of do you try to manipulate your game to play where they're demanding the shot to be, or do you do what you're best at? And after a few years of bowling with the guys, I've discovered I need to just do what I'm best at. I've watched a lot of girls, Missy included, just kind of do the same thing, even though the shot doesn't necessarily say play there. She's the best at playing her game, and she's going to do that and make it work.
I like that.
Yeah, I know a lot of you guys have, you know, close relationships with some of the players on the men's tour. Have you guys gotten any ribbing from those guys since you've been drafted?
No.
No.
Congrats.
Matt Ogle.
They'll probably save it for the competition. Yeah.
Any little behind the scenes bets going on with you guys?
I actually think we have an upper hand psychologically. I do. I really do.
I would assume the guys are pretty happy to have you guys in there, right? I mean, they're but they still want to win, right?
But we want to win too.
The difference is with our draft is we got to take we ended up with the top 10 players on our two teams. Those other teams, you know, they had to split it up a little bit, you know, and how they had to draft their players. So that's where I think we have a little different opportunity here. We got to pick from the best. And everyone's like, well, why did you guys just stay in the top 10? I'm like, why not?
Top 10. You can't argue with success.
Yeah.
So before we got some fun questions to ask you guys here in a minute. I'm going to have Aaron come back in for that. But one last question before we move on. You know, we talked a little bit about, you know, how you guys are going to prepare for this, but like, I assume individually you'll go out and practice. Would one of the strategies that you might employ, you know, be to pair up with you know, maybe like a local two-hander, or, you know, just to kind of simulate some of the possible lane transitions that you might see in this competition?
Yeah, I mean, probably would go and bowl with like a higher end bowling ball, and then just try to figure out what to do from there to beat the lanes up, and then be really mad at yourself that you did it, but then try to figure out what to do. You know, that's my strategy.
What about the rest?
There's no perfect way to prepare for it.
Yeah. I know. You know, obviously, all of you have bowled with the men, so you kind of know what to expect in terms of transition. But there's not a lot of bowling going on right now, so I was just wondering if there was, you know, anything you do to try to, you know, there's nothing like going out and competing, right? So I just wondered if there was anything that you guys were planning on doing with, you know, the situation, you know, being what it is right now, to try to, you know, simulate that.
How many of you aren't able to practice regularly? Everybody's able to get on the lanes?
My center's still closed.
I know people.
So's mine.
Yeah, my center's closed, but I can go practice.
But that makes it tougher, right?
Right.
I don't know about you. Like I practiced during quarantine, and they had to air off because they weren't open. And you go in the approach. I'd never wear a sock. I'd fall on my butt trying to do that, but I had to wear a sock just to have a somewhat normal slide because of humidity and whatnot being in, you know, with the approaches. So it made my practice different because of what I had to practice on. And there was more approach than anything, but I would never see the approaches that tacky ever than what I experienced. So, you know, but as long as you get on the lanes, you feel like you know, you can get a pretty good feel. That's all you're really looking for anyway. So we've all bowled on enough conditions that we know what we have to do. when we see it. Not worried about that. We got this.
Nice. Well, that's the last question I had. I'm going to bring Aaron back in, and he's got some more fun stuff for you guys. So I'm looking forward to hearing your answers on this stuff.
Hello again, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, that's right, Dasha. I actually drank all my water though while I was waiting there. So to kind of get to the end of the show here, we've had a show on Bowl TV called The Gauntlet, and there's one particular round called You Don't Know Me that kind of allows folks to see what they know about other people. So I thought this might be a cool team building experience to kind of see where everyone's thinking ahead about certain things. Obviously, Clara's not here, but that's okay. So you guys can pick her for this too, if you like. But I got a few questions. Some of them are more bowling related. Some of them are more on the fun side about competing in the PBA League. So I'm not sure if everyone has paper or not. Maybe not. I'm guessing Liz doesn't. Liz is in the maybe she does. But
Sign, I don't know.
all right. Maybe we'll just pick everyone around the circle to do this. So obviously, everyone's very familiar with a Baker lineup at this point, and they know there's a certain type of player that kind of fits into each position. So my first question for the group here, we'll give you a few seconds to put it together. Who do you think is the most likely to fit in the leadoff position on a Baker team out of this team?
Anybody?
Well, that's fair too.
No, I mean, right from the top, I would pick Missy probably, because I know that she keeps the ball and play very well, and she's going to give us a good look at it, and we can all see off of her shot what we're in for if there's change, right? Usually, you want to have somebody who can control the pocket pretty easily, so that would be my choice.
Excellent, Bob. Missy, we'll throw it to you now.
I did bowl leadoff just recently in the Women's World Championships for our team, so I would say me, I guess.
Excellent. Danielle?
I agree. I think I would lean towards Missy, although, when you think leadoff position, also keeping the ball in play, but you also want that person to kind of be the spark and the excitement to kind of start the team and get you going. And there's a few people on our team that could fill that spot. So it would be a hard decision.
I agree with the excitement part. Dasha?
Either Missy or Clara, because Clara can also do, she can kind of light it up because she's super energetic, and she has that, a way when she gets intense, she goes like, come on, let's go, like that type of thing. I'm not very good at impressions, but you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And Missy is a very experienced player who always plays, a lot of times plays lead off. I think should be a good person to give us the idea of where to go and what to do.
All right. And Liz, I think you started to answer, but it is now your turn.
Yeah, I agree with the Missy choice. I mean, she did just mention that she bowled leadoff at World Championships. Not only is she really good at controlling the pocket, she's really good at seeing ball motion and really good at communicating, which is obviously very important when you're bowling in a Baker format because you want to know what the next player is going to do. So I think she'd be a really good option.
All right, excellent. We're going to hop to the other end of the spectrum here now. So Baker lineup. That fifth spot, obviously, everyone can go up in there and throw the double when you need it. But who kind of fits that anchor spot mentality the best? We'll go the other way around this time. We'll start with Liz.
Oof. Well, I feel like in that, and it's tough with the anchor bowler because usually it's obviously your best player, but your best player could be a different person every time you step out on the lane. I mean, we're all very talented bowlers, obviously, but Bob mentioned this in the beginning of the podcast that it's all about who has the best ball reaction at that moment. I mean, probably on paper, Danielle should be our anchor player, but it all depends on whose ball reaction is the best at that time. And also, I mean, obviously you look at an anchor player in clutch moments. We've all had times where we've had to throw strikes. So, I mean, if I had to answer, I would say the person that has the best ball reaction, but I would say Danielle if we're going to pick somebody.
All right. Dasha.
Danielle. She's experienced in the PBA League, and she can definitely make shots when it counts. So, girl, you got my vote anytime. I'll bet my money on you.
There we go. D-Mac.
I couldn't pick a person similar to what Liz said. I feel like we're all experienced. We all can strike on TV. I've watched all these girls do amazing things on TV sets. So I would want to wait till that day and see who's throwing it the best, who's most comfortable, who has the best ball motion. And I believe in anybody who's in that spot.
All right. Missy.
I agree with what everybody else said. It's all going to come down to who has the best ball reaction. Like what Danielle said, I've seen every single one of the players on our team make those shots when they need it. So,
Absolutely. And Bob.
Ditto. I mean, what else to say? You've got the top players. They're all able to get up there and get it done. What Danielle said was, who's the most comfortable on the lanes?
I like that. These next two are going to be a little bit tougher because I don't think we can work the same angle that we've worked with leadoff and anchor positions. So we're going into the personalities now a little bit more. So who do you think is most likely to play to the crowd at Bayside? We'll start with you, Bob.
Well, I guess I'm going to go off the fact that I heard Clara's name brought up as being someone that likes to get everybody going. So I suppose maybe her, but Danielle's had been there before, so she's got people in the crowd she already knows and that have followed her. So I'm sure she'll do a pretty good job as well. But I got Dasha wants to do cheers, for God's sake, so it could be any of them.
My guilty pleasure. Give it to me. Just give me one cheer. That's all I ask for.
I will be ready for that. All right, Missy.
I'd have to say Liz, for sure. Liz can start dancing and cheering and screaming and get everybody all excited. So I'd have to say Liz.
Excellent. Dancing. All right.
So there's a new side here. I didn't know, right?
Hey.
We're team building here,
It's
Bob.
all coming out now, Bob.
All right, Danielle.
Hands down, Liz. It was one of the first things I texted her after she was added to the team. You're just going to love this environment, and it's just going to bring out the best in her. I know she just loves all that excitement, and it makes her bowl her best. So definitely Liz.
Very nice. Very nice. Dasha.
I think Bob is going to do a great job.
Ooh.
Bob is going to call out there and be like, yeah, let's go.
After all, I am the cheerleader. I can't throw a ball. I can only
You're going to just take some pom-poms and go like.
You don't want
Liz,
to see that.
Liz,
You
definitely
do not want to see that. Yeah.
But what if we do?
We'll see what happens.
All right, Liz, you've been the popular choice for this. Do you think it's you or someone else on the team?
I feel like we're all capable of getting into the crowd, but I've been bowling with these girls not only on Team USA, but over the years on tour, and it's no secret that I'm an adrenaline player. I always have been since college days, and even bled into my professional career, obviously. I love to play off the crowd. I love to play off just audience. I just have always been that way. I'm a very animated player. So I'm really looking forward to bowling in that environment. That's all I have to say.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. The final question for this round, one I'm very intrigued by, and this is an option to take the high road or have fun with it. Who is the most likely to trash talk another team? So if that's, little talking, little maybe walk it off on their lane, one of those two, something like that. Is there someone on this team who fits that bill, or maybe even not? Liz. Oh, it's Bob.
I'll take that.
Oh, Bob will start. All right.
No. Just the fact I'll take that job.
Oh.
I don't know the players. I give them a hard time.
Again, I feel like this is one where I think all of us could possibly do that. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I can see myself throwing some punches because I just like to do that kind of stuff. But I can also see Clara's pretty fiery and tenacious when it comes to that. So I can see Clara maybe in Spanish spurting some stuff off real quick. That's what I'm thinking of. I would say either Clara or myself.
All right, Dasha.
I can contribute to the being mad at other team if they're gonna be mad at us. Oof. Don't do that. I'll get protective and I'll be like, yo, you want to take it outside? Let's go.
All right. Danielle.
I could tell you I would like to see Clara do it. And as Liz said in Spanish, I've seen her a ton of times on the lanes get all fired up and get those phrases going in Spanish. And I'm always like, what is she saying? So I would love her to be on my team and on my side of that and send it the other way.
Very nice. Missy.
I would agree that Clara, I could definitely see doing that. And Bob for sure. He'll have our back. And I can also see Liz getting fiery with the guys.
All right, Bob, you've already volunteered.
Sure, they're not going to back down. I can tell you that. I can see what this is morphing into here. I don't.
Well, I do appreciate you guys having some fun with us here. I'm going to bring Jason back in to kind of wrap up the show, but enjoyed that little team building right there. So, JT, I'm going to send it back to you.
Thanks, Aaron. That was fun. I'm looking forward to talking about this over the next couple of months. Obviously, we all want it to happen. And I especially want that last part that you just talked about to happen. Like, please, if it happens, please trash talk. It's what I want to see the most. But anyway, just any closing thoughts, guys, before we wrap it up today. Let's just go around and get all of your impressions on the opportunity and what you're looking forward to about this.
Starting with Liz.
Go ahead, Liz.
Okay.
Or should we start with Missy since she's the lead off?
Okay. Sure.
Okay, I'll start. First, thank you so much, Bob, for the opportunity. I'm extremely excited to get on the lanes with these girls. I think we have an amazing team. I can't wait to see what we do up against those guys and definitely have them have more faces like Mika. So thank you again for the opportunity.
I'm glad to have you.
All right, who's second? Who's the second in the lineup there?
Oh,
I don't think we ever determined that. We didn't determine that. Let's go with Liz.
Okay. I mean, I feel like this is going to be a lot of agreeing as we go down the line, but obviously there was a lot of players capable of competing in this position, and I'm just very grateful that I'm getting this opportunity to bowl with 4 other fabulous, very talented ladies, and to have a coach that obviously has been around and has a lot of accomplishments working with different players. So I'm very excited to work with Bob because I haven't before. So I just feel overall, I'm very grateful to be in this position. I'm really excited for women's bowling in the PWBA to be able to be broadcasted in this event. I feel like it's going to be really good for us. So I'm very excited in that aspect as well. I'm just looking forward to bowling again. I mean, obviously, COVID has thrown a lot of curveballs at us this summer, and for us to be able to have a platform to bowl again is very exciting, and I'm looking really forward to doing with all these ladies. And Bob.
Let's go with Dasha next.
I'm just happy that this happened, and I'm really thankful for Bob for trusting me, and I'm sure if you want me still, but I'll do my best. And then just PBA and PWBA for this opportunity to arise. And again, I'm fangirling as we're speaking. I'm just sitting here like, wow, look at all those ladies and Clara and Bob and Jason. You look fine too, but you're not in the Miami Waves. Sorry.
I'm a fan.
I'm just happy to bowl and feel the team atmosphere and camaraderie and just having a good time.
I'm looking forward to wearing the Miami Waves hat when they have that available.
Merch. Looking forward to merch too.
Danielle?
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Bob, for this amazing opportunity. Listening to the things that you said about myself and my other teammates now, it shows how much you believe in us, and it really gives us all a lot of confidence moving forward. And, these are the best women in the world, and I bowl against them all the time, and now they're my teammates. So I think together we're just going to be unstoppable.
And it's a different scenario for me because being coach, but also being a fan of each of these players, that's a unique opportunity for me. And I'm really looking for the opportunity, honestly, to spend time with you guys. And I know we're going to do great things. I know I keep saying that, but I am. I'm sure we are. It's going to be a lot of fun, even though we're here for competition. It's going to be fun too. We're going to have fun because winning's fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is nothing funner, I think. Losing is not fun. Yeah.
Is it fun? Is funner a word?
No.
More fun.
Yeah, more fun.
It is now.
More fun. Yeah, I'm an English lit major. I could actually turn this computer around and show you my degree, and all of my teachers are, rolling in their graves, or I'm sure a lot of them are still alive. But anyway, well, that was good stuff, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming on and sharing your thoughts on the league. We're obviously going to be completely behind you. We may even be dressed in some squirrel suits on site when you guys have the event. We'll be rooting for you. But looking forward to seeing it all happen, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it, in the coming months before the event. So thanks so much for coming on the show with us today, and good luck in the competition.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Jason.
you.
Thank you.
Go Waves.
Aaron.
Well, sir, that was a lot of fun.
That was a super fun, awesome time. Yes. Miami Waves, everybody.
Yeah, I'm glad we got a chance to talk to them and do it in this format. Obviously, next week we're going to have the Phoenix Fury on as well,
Mm-hmm.
so that should be a lot of fun. But man, we asked some tough questions there to Bob, and I really like the way he answered all those questions. It really gives you a good insight into what he's thinking as far as the makeup of the team. And, I think they've got a great chance here in this league. What do you think?
I would agree. I really like getting the insight of what he was kind of looking at when putting this team together. And you know what? The one thing when he said it, all of a sudden I'm like, damn, that's true. You look at the PBA, obviously, the talent's out of this world there. But, they got from the top 5, from the top 20 to the top 30, 40, 50 players. We got all the top 10 here. So that's and that was something that I heard him like, you know what?
Yeah.
He's 100% right. So
yeah, that's true.
I like the sound of that. And I just like the energy of this team. I think this is going to be a fun team to watch. And I'm looking forward to seeing them compete in September. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like they had a really good chemistry. Just having them here on the show today, which I think is a huge piece of this, right? I think it almost might be the whole thing. And that's one of the hard things about when you pick the team is, getting the right personalities together. Luckily they all happen to be in the top 10 in the points list, right? So they're not only great players, but it seems like they have really good chemistry together. So I think they have a great chance.
That's a big thing, every year at the Open Championships and the Women's Championships, you can put the best 5 on paper on a team and, the chemistry may not necessarily be there. But in this instance, definitely all good vibes coming from this group. So I think they're already off on a good start, on the right foot, and they're going to strike a bunch in Portland.
I agree. Well, what do we got coming up next week, Mr. Smith?
On the PWBA podcast, I believe we're going to have Stephanie Johnson, 2015 PWBA Rookie of the Year, joining on Monday. We're going to go a little bit different route on Wednesday. Going to bring in a player who's going to be a rookie this year in 2020, the 2-time NCBCA Player of the Year, Caitlin Johnson, is going to swing by. And then, as you mentioned, Friday, we are going to have a similar show as to this. We're going to bring the Phoenix Fury on. So Kim Kearney, Shannon O'Keefe, Liz Johnson, Jordan Richard, Stephanie Johnson, and Maria Jose Rodriguez. So hopefully we'll have all 5. We may not, but we'll have fun regardless. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Inside the OC, kind of going a cool route for the next show. Going to have Mike Schmidt, who just got 100,000 pins last year in Las Vegas, along with Jamie Brooks, a past champion, a 60-year guy who's on the verge of getting 100,000 pins. So that's going to be super fun with Matt Cannizzaro on Thursday. So that's kind of our week. So I'll let you take it away, JT.
Good stuff. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks for joining us here today. For Aaron Smith, I'm Jason Thomas. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week right back here on Bull TV.